Oh, that's the way to start a Friday, man. I mean, every time I hear that, I get fired up because I love doing these lives. I'm a little bit tired today. You can see a little bags under my eyes. That's okay, man. I feel pretty good, and we are ready to roll. Me and the wife, she got home late last night. We decided to watch a movie together, and had a good time. We're up a little bit late, up till 1. Look a little bit worse for wear, but man, I'm ready to lift. I'm ready to lift today. It was back day for me last time. I think it's junk day today. I can't even remember. Let me know what you guys are up to. And anyway, welcome to Massive Iron Live. I'm here every Friday. Been here every Friday since time began. I think it's the longest running live Q&A in the history of lifting, something like that. I know that's kind of a wacky claim, but I don't know that anybody else that does a live Q&A. So I'll make the claim and name it, claim it, right? But I appreciate you guys joining me. If you're new here, this is your time. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to help you guys. This is what I love to do for a living. I love to talk lifting. I love to help you guys. So whatever your questions are, don't hesitate to post them up. Before we begin, just a couple of housekeeping notes. If your questions don't go through, that's not me throttling you. That is YouTube. Try shortening your questions. Try rewording your questions. Sometimes if your questions contain the wrong word, YouTube will put you in the naughty box and you might have to rephrase it. So before we get started, we got a couple of things I want to let you guys know. Updates. We are working on the training app. I have a workable copy of our new workout tracker. And this is not just another workout tracker. It is going to be our goal, the best in the industry. And we were just talking, I was talking with my developer last night at 8:00, and we're just going over future features, man. We're trying to stay 10 steps ahead of the game. I'm super excited about this, so I appreciate your guys' patience. It is coming. We're working out the initial bugs, and an alpha will be out soon. Still working on my book, Slow and Steady. What else we got? Team Massive Iron. Please come join teammassiveiron.com. Any of you guys watching that watch week in and week out and aren't a part of teammassiveiron.com, I'd love to have you. It has a gatekeeping fee of $4.99 a month. Your fee helps keep the server troll-free and private. And we have a really good community. We have over 250 members, really good conversations, topics of the day. You can get your form checks done, all kinds of stuff. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would check out teammassiveiron.com. And before we get started, if you're interested in coaching, please head over to superlivingtoday.com. I have one spot available. That's kind of the way it goes every week. Someone will graduate, move on from college, whatever, get divorced, have a kid. Something's always going on, right? So if you're interested in that spot, you can head over to superlivingtoday.com, check out the coaching tab. And please follow me on Instagram for really mediocre content. Just joking, man. Like, coaching is my priority. And content's always a second fiddle. So I'm always trying to put up the best stuff I can. Sometimes it's just more random than other content producers. So how are we doing? I had a good week. Let me just get this banner off here. I had a good week. It's been raining all week. Like, I'm waiting for Noah to float by. It's just been nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. We had the eclipse day. What day was the eclipse day? Was that Monday? I don't remember. Seems like a million days ago. That it was sunny that day, and since then it's been nonstop rain and just absolutely horrible weather. I don't really want to go out and run and hike in this just because it's a mudslog. I'm a little bit over that, but like I'm hoping this weekend we actually have good weather and we can get past that. But keep lifting. Lifting is going really well. My strength keeps going up and up and up. And not bad for an old guy, right? So, all right, let's dive into your questions. No questions are dumb questions. Some questions are just stupid questions. So feel free to ask dumb and stupid questions. That's what we're here for. Diet, training, nutrition, off topic. Seriously, there are no dumb questions, so I'm here to help. Assassin from Team Massive. Happy Friday from your favorite assassin. Have a great weekend. Much love and much love your way. What would we do without our favorite assassin? There's so many one-of-a-kind people over on Team Massive. And I got to tell you, that's what it makes my day to go over there and see everyone. It really does. It's my grounding every morning. I get in, I turn on Team Massive. I go through their questions or comments. It's the first thing I do in the morning when I'm feeding the dogs is say hello. Yvonne from Team Massive, how's it going? Dumbbells and Donuts, my newest client. Talked to him this morning. Over in the UK, we had a 48-minute and 52-second conversation. Not that I was tracking, but glad to have you on board. Shelly, another one of my favorites from Team Massive. Good morning. Steve, what are your recommendations for deload week, workout-wise? My bulk is on track, but is it a problem to drop to maintenance? No, it's not a problem at all. I wouldn't drop to a cut on a deload week, or I wouldn't drop to a calorie deficit. A deload week, I'd probably take the first day or two at normal bulking calories just to allow for recovery. But for the deload itself, it's okay to have a deconditioning week or a week where you're just at maintenance calories. So workout-wise, typically what you can do is you can drop sets 1 per exercise. That's A. B, drop weight 30%. C, drop a set and weight 30%. You don't want to be pushing sets for max safe reps. So, whatever your general rep range is, let's say you're doing dumbbell curls with 20s, you could drop to 2 sets, keep the same rep range of 10 or whatever you're doing and drop weight to maybe 15. You don't want to over push. That's the point of a deload. So you're kind of giving yourself a break overall volume-wise, overall weight-wise. That's what I would do, if that makes sense. Drop a set per exercise and drop weight by about 30%. And don't over push for PRs. Just get your reps in. Hold the ship steady. Paladin, please provide your Pendlay row form tips. So number 1, when you're in a Pendlay row, you want to see your hips slightly below your shoulders. You don't want to see hips at shoulder level on a Pendlay row. If you're doing so, you're hanging out way out over the bar, and that's going to place a lot of stress on your lower back. So hips below shoulders, how far? I mean, we all have different limb lengths and leverages, so let's not get caught up in the minutia, right? But as long as your hips are below your shoulders and it feels like a good pulling position, you're in good shape. Now, you don't want the bar too far forward, okay? When you look from a side view on the Pendlay row, you want the bar pretty much, right where it would be for a deadlift in starting position, or just an inch or 2 forward. But if you can see your entire feet behind the bar, or the bar's that far forward, when you pull, it's going to place more stress on your lower back because your weight is so far behind the bar, right? If the bar is here and all of your weight is behind the bar and you're pulling, you're going to have to kind of pull up in this way. There's a lot of stress on your lower back. So what I like to do for a Pendlay row is I like to get under the bar like I was going to do a deadlift, and then I move my feet out just a little bit, okay? My big, hairy, ugly dude dance. I get my feet under there for a deadlift, right? And then I do a shuffle out on my feet just a little bit. I like a little bit wider stance, a little bit wider bracing position, I guess you could say, for the Pendlay rows. And then I just have my arms normal. Now, on a Pendlay row, once you have the hips below your head or below the center of your shoulder, you want to try to lock things in, okay? Your head should stay locked in with your torso. You don't want that head wobbling like this, looking down, looking up, looking side by side. Where the head goes, the body follows. So On a Pendlay row, if you're pulling and your head's going back or head's looking down, that's going to transfer stress to your lower back. It's going to mess with your leverage positions. So you want to really think when you're pulling, hips below shoulders, lock the head and torso in. Now the torso is going to rise a little bit when you drive the elbows back. That's okay. That's called physics, right? You can't avoid that. But what you want to see in this position is you want to drive the elbows back to really feel that back working. I think mentally about driving the elbows and shoulders back at the same time. Elbows and shoulders back. That's mentally what I process on back work. A lot of coaches will talk about driving the elbows back. I really think about driving the elbows and shoulders back at the same time in unison. Okay. So when you're doing that, the torso is kind of going to move a little bit, but you don't want to see the torso doing this. You want to see a little bit of torso movement as a result of driving the elbows back. If you see the torso move before the elbows go back, you have a discipline problem. Okay, so let me focus on that point because it's an important point. If you see the torso move, you're in the Pendlay row position, and if you see the torso move and then the elbows move, you have a discipline issue. You get to go into the corner of shame and work on your form. Okay, so you want to see the elbows drive and then maybe a little bit of torso movement to follow. That's okay. But if you see the torso move and then the elbows drive, you're using your lower back and using a little bit of unwanted English to get the bar moving. So I've been able to Pendlay row 405 by 5. That was my peak of good form. And a couple other points on the Pendlay row is that power is not the enemy. When you have a bench press, you're doing a horizontal press. Horizontal is like standing and you're pressing along the horizon. You have to generate power or else the bar is not going to come off your chest. In the YouTube fitness world, in the influencer world, it is sometimes seen as shameful to generate power in the opposite direction on a row. It's okay to generate power to get the bar off your chest, but God help you if you generate power to drive the bar towards your chest. They have it wrong. This is not cheating. Cheating is when you are driving, when your torso moves before your elbows move back. Then you're creating English. You're cheating. Cheating is not power generation on a Pendlay row. Power generation allows you to recruit a maximal amount of muscle fibers, and power generation is not mutually exclusive to back feel. I can do 200-pound dumbbell rows for 20 to 25, upwards of 28 reps. I can feel the back work. That's my prime directive. It is often parroted by ignorant lifters, and I mean that respectfully because they don't know what they don't know. It is often parroted by this grouping of social media and internet lifters that on a Pendlay row, if you generate power, that's cheating. This is nonsense. Power generation helps recruit muscle fibers. If you're in the hole on a squat, you have to generate maximal power to get out of the hole, or else you're going to get crushed. Power is your friend. If you are bench pressing, power is your friend. If you are initiating a curl from the bottom, you have to generate maximal power to get the dumbbell or barbell moving. But God help you if you generate power on a Pendlay row. And this is why so many of these individuals have, excuse my language, shit backs. Because they are afraid of power generation on the rows. They are afraid of girding up those big juicy testicles or those big juicy ovaries generating power, putting some weight on the bar, and challenging the back. Again, power generation does not mean you're not feeling the back. It's not cheating. Cheating is when you have that torso sway, you're generating momentum, and then you drive the elbows back because you're generating momentum with your lower back. When you do this, you're doing a back extension. Does that make sense? So, one final word on the Pendlay row. When you're in the middle of a set and you feel kind of a little bit of slowing of that power generation, like halfway up, you're like, that wasn't quite as quick as a previous rep, that's failure, okay? That means the next rep's going to be even slower. That's when you stop. That's when you can stop a set. That's when you stop counting reps. Now, the question is, can I do a couple of additional reps at this point? You are in the middle of a Pendlay row set, and all of a sudden you hit a rep, and power is like, oh, I barely got that up. I could notice a decrease in power generation. Okay, that's when you stop counting reps, but you can do a couple more reps after that. They will be cheat E, they will be English E, but you're already at failure, okay? So at this point, if you need to use a little bit of momentum, but you can still feel your back working to get those next 2 to 3 reps, you can do cheat reps. As long as you know where you are progressing, where the set ended, etc. Does that make sense? Are you guys hearing me? All right, we got a Dr. Mike comment. Dr. Mike was on Table Talk. I didn't get a chance to watch it yet, and said he rated single arm dumbbell rows and seated dumbbell overhead presses. I have no words for this. No words. I couldn't disagree more. And you guys just have to watch single arm dumbbell. The heavy rows are one of the best things you can do for your back and traps. They simply are. Is this a hill I would die on? There are certain things, you call hills you would die on. Things you would go to war over, and I would go to war over this. If you want my honest opinion, I think I don't know the context. I didn't watch the video, so I hate to comment without knowing the context in case something was missing. But this is awful advice if this is the way it was framed. They're not the worst exercises. They are 2 of the best exercises. I have no idea in his brain why an overhead press would be a bad exercise. I can tell you what I do know. I do know in the massive iron world, we work all of the exercise planes, okay? We work the horizontal press. Why is a bench press called a horizontal press? Because basically, if you're standing up, you press against the horizon. So it's a horizontal press, horizontal pull. Bench press, push-ups, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, opposing movements. We work the body in totality from head to toe using all the major movement patterns. Vertical press, vertical pull, pull-ups, chin-ups, lat pull-downs, vertical press, overhead press. We work all opposing movement patterns. We work all movement planes. We get them as strong as humanly possible. I do not care what other people are. I'm not going to deal with their philosophies. We're going to deal with our philosophies. Okay? Ours has no downside. If you remove the overhead press or vertical press from your shoulder workout, you have nothing left of value. Okay? Nothing left of value. Now, a seated dumbbell overhead press is not proclaiming we must remove all vertical pressing. You still could have a seated barbell overhead, a clock off press, a behind the neck press. You could have an Arnold press. Okay? You could have a seated machine press. You could have all these things. So I don't know the context. I would say the seated dumbbell overhead press for hypertrophy is a better choice than the barbell. Tried to sneeze. The seated dumbbell overhead press has a slight advantage in my book for hypertrophy over the seated barbell. Slight. We're talking slight. Both of them I want to see you guys do. The single arm dumbbell row is an amazing back builder. Because it's a unilateral exercise, it's one of the rare movements where you can really overload one side. Okay, you are doing, let's take my extreme example. At my peak strength, I could do a Pendlay row for 405 by 5. A Pendlay row is basically a 2-arm row, okay, where you're pretty braced. The bar is starting from the floor. That's how I do my dumbbell rows. Why do I do my dumbbell rows with the bar on the floor? Why do I do my Pendlay rows with the bar on the floor? It allows me a little bit of lower back break, and then I can brace again and drive. I like driving from that brace position where the bar is on the ground. We set it down for just a split second, brace, and let it rip. So on a Pendlay row using 2 arms, the most I could do was 405 by 5. Now on paper, if we split that into single arm rows, we'd say you should be able to do about 202 and a half for 5 reps with 1 arm. But the beautiful thing about a unilateral exercise is you can usually do more with one side, usually, not always, it depends on the movement pattern, more with one side than you could do with both. So on a Pendlay row, I could do 405 by 5. On a single arm dumbbell row, I was doing 200 for 20, 25, 28. You can do more weight on the single arm dumbbell row. It provides you much better feel. It is a much better option than a chest supported dumbbell row. Not that that's a bad lift. That's a good lift. That's just a B tier lift. And there's nothing wrong with B tier lifts. I do a lot of B tier lifts. You can't all do A tier lifts, right? The chest supported dumbbell row, the seal row, they have good progression opportunity. They're good lifts. But the single arm dumbbell row is one of the best exercises you can do. We can get brutally strong on it. That strength on those 1-arm dumbbell rows and Pendlay rows is going to transfer over to your deadlift and to everything else for that matter. And it's going to help you build big traps. You're like, how can that build a big deadlift? Okay, we need a bigger picture, okay? We're playing a different game than Dr. Mike. We're playing the hypertrophy game, but we're playing it a little bit more strategic, all right? We're training the body in totality. We're taking a bigger picture, getting everything we can in the human body from head to toe as strong and as big as humanly possible. All movement patterns, all equipment patterns, dumbbells, barbells, machines, cables, okay? We're bringing all the tools. We're building a big base. The single arm dumbbell row has more progression opportunity than any other back movement. Let me repeat that. The single arm dumbbell row has more progression opportunity than any other dumbbell movement. Now, back to my point. How can that build a big deadlift? Are you saying if I build a big single arm dumbbell row, I'm going to have a big deadlift? Is there a direct carryover? Well, let's think bigger than that, okay? Let's not try to create an A plus B equals C equation. Single arm dumbbell row plus weight equals big deadlift, okay? It's not quite like that, but it's like this. And I want you to follow me here. If you're someone deadlifting 225 to 250, okay, and you get your Pendlay row to 275, you get your single arm dumbbell row to 150 for 2 sets of 10. You can literally single arm dumbbell row 150 for 2 sets of 10. or Pendlay row 275 for 2 sets of 5, where is your deadlift going to be? Is it because there's direct carryover, or is it because we have the focus on building as much strength and muscle from head to toe as possible in all movement patterns? We are training all movement patterns, okay? And strength builds strength. Strength builds strength. So while there is not a direct equation, get your rows bigger and your deadlift will be bigger, there is reality that if you look at someone and they are Pendlay rowing 405 by 5, what do you think their deadlift's going to be? Do you think about this? Is it going to be 600 or more? Do you think it's going to be 600 or more? I do. If I see somebody Pendlay rowing 405 by 5, they're in that Pendlay row leverage position, do you think they're going to be able to deadlift 600 pounds? I do. It's strength builds strength. We're attacking all movement patterns. So it's not specifically that increasing the dumbbell row is increasing the deadlift. It's the mentality we take in the massive iron world. We're going to make everything strong. And when you make everything strong and everything big, you're going to maximize that strength and size naturally. There's going to be this wonderful synergy from head to toe where we're maximizing everything instead of standing in front of a tree. One final point on this, and you guys that know the massive iron world and what I teach, there are no magic exercises. The best possible way to build a big back or big shoulders is a quality grouping of exercises. We like to have this picture in the bodybuilding world, in the muscle building world, in the strength building world, that we come out with one weapon, right? Here's my big weapon to build a big back. Here's my big weapon to build big legs. No. What we are, we come out with all the weapons. We got the knife, okay? We got the holsters. We got double pistols. We got the ammo across our chest. We got the AK-47. We got the flamethrower. We got the rocket launcher. You know what I'm saying? We're just being silly here, but what we are doing is we're not worrying about one exercise. We're worrying about the big picture. And this is how muscle is built. Are squats better than leg press when it comes to building quads? What's better is squats and leg press. Are you hearing me? What's better is squats and leg press, or squats 1 week. The next week we do leg press 1 week, hack squats the next. We were working in hack squats. We're working in lunges. We're working in Bulgarian split squats. We're working in leg extensions. What's better is a grouping of exercises. So you have your choice to make, and I'm not going to try to convince you. Do you think single arm dumbbell rows and seated dumbbell rows are the two worst exercises? If I'm going to build big shoulders, I'm going to look at exercises that have a big progression opportunity, okay, that allow me to progress for a long period of time. Now, I do side lateral raises, and you've heard me say this many, many times. But side lateral raises have a limited progression opportunity. After 38 years, I can do 30 pounds on side lateral raises, maybe 35. That's after 38 years. On overhead press, I'm close to 300 pounds right now, and I'll be age 57 this year. Are you following me? It's not that side lateral raises are a bad exercise. They're not a primary delt builder. They're the sprinkles on the icing on the cake. So if we remove overhead presses, what are we left with? Upright rows, which are basically an overhead press with the palms facing down, okay? Vertical press, palms facing up. Flip them over. Upright row, same movement. Watch the elbows, watch the elbows, watch the elbows. Okay. Same movement, palms facing down. Upright row has a lower progression opportunity. Still a good exercise. It still can be used to build big delts. But it's not an A-tier exercise like the dumbbell overhead press. So those are my thoughts. I hope that helps a little bit. At the end of the day, it's up for you guys to decide what makes sense, right? What makes sense? Do it your way. Do it his way. Do it my way. Just do it hard. Big Tim, how's it going? Been finding a good rhythm and strength despite only having the weekend to train. I hope that changes for you soon. But I will soon be going overseas for 3 weeks for field training. I don't like theoretical questions, Tim. And Tim is somebody on Team Massive, and he knows I love him and care about him. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to be doing. I don't know what you're going to be eating. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Get out of your head. It's a non-question. Who cares? All that matters is you're going to be a machine for the next 10 years. And I mean that. I don't want you carrying around this mental burden. How much strength will I lose? I have clients all the time that go on vacation or away from a big lift for 3 weeks. Who cares? Drop weight 20%, get back at it, right? When you come back, you might have to drop weight 20% and get back at it. There's no strength loss over the long run. It's just slightly temporary. Who cares? Don't worry about it, Tim. I'm not saying you are necessarily worrying about it, but I want you just to get it out of your head. When you are away from a big lift, more than 10 days, when you come back, you want to drop weight by about 10%. When you're away from a big lift, more than 20 days, you want to drop weight by about 20%. The muscles tend to, like your strength tends to hang around, but your connective tissue tends to weaken a little bit at a different rate. My connective tissue on a deadlift or a squat always feels more funky when I'm away than actual muscular strength. Does that make sense? Big Jonathan. Team Massive Crew checking in. Thanks for checking in. Big Justin Jones. Happy Freitag, big hairy ugly dude in Team Massive. Planning to start my cut soon. Any advice on making workouts a little shorter? Yeah, what I would do is it is okay during a cut to, this is a mental tick right here. When you get on here and like your zipper's pointed straight up, like calm down, buddy. Just get back into position. All right, so if you want to make your workouts a little bit shorter, I would probably cut a set from some exercises. You're not going to lose muscle. You're not going to lose strength. But what you're doing is you're holding steady. The point of a cut is to lose the fat, and holding steady is okay, right? We're not over pushing during a cut. So during a cut, if you are struggling with energy, drop a set per exercise. Simple as that. Stein, happy Friday. Stein, how's it going? Barbell Beauty, happy Friday. Please follow her on Instagram. Eric, the Beard of Redness, who recently turned vegan. I know you recommended not deadlifting the day. Yes, definitely not. Do not deadlift the day after bicep work. If you wanted to do the posterior day after upper day, would you substitute tricep work for curls? What I typically do, and this is a good question. Okay, so we have the upper posterior workout in the Massive Iron world. Upper is chest, shoulders, bicepticons, tricepticons. Okay? Chest, shoulders, arms. Then you have the posterior, which is legs and back. If you do an upper, which includes biceps, you should rest on an upper posterior the day after an upper, or move your bicep work from upper to the posterior at the end. Does that make sense? Because you do not want to deadlift with any back or bicep fatigue. The deadlift, your arms are locked, The biceps are involved in the deadlift. Anybody that's watched deadlifts over the years, we do not want to risk a bicep tear. We do not want a fatigued deadlift. The bicep is going to be one of the weaker muscle groups involved in a deadlift. Is it involved in a deadlift in a major fashion? Obviously, no. But a minor fashion, yes. We do not want the biceps fatigued headed into deadlift. So if you are doing an upper posterior, you can move your biceps work to posterior. Have you explored kettlebells for rows? Some of my clients have done it. Look, the problem with this is that most of us don't have 25 sets of kettlebells lying around at home or at commercial gym. You might have one of those funky little things where you can, do adjustable kettlebells. That's great. You can row with whatever you want as long as there's a progression opportunity. The main reason we don't is me, like everybody else, I have one stinking kettlebell at home. They're just too darn expensive. I had someone tell me they are good for rows because you can get a good stretch. You can get a good stretch on anything. So that's a non-point. I get a stretch on a dumbbell row. If you can't get a stretch on a dumbbell row, it's not the dumbbell's fault. It's the dumbbell holding the dumbbell. You know what I'm saying? So no, that's a non-point. Matt, happy Friday. For deadlifts, is there an optimal rest period for sets of 3 versus sets of 6? Yeah, it's always rest until you feel mentally and physically ready to go again. I don't count rest. I want to, on a deadlift, make sure I feel mentally and physically ready to go again. When you feel mentally and physically ready to go again, then you attack. If you didn't have to cook or do dishes and someone else was paying, what would be your number one cutting meal? Let me get a drink and think about this. If I didn't have to cook, I like my cutting meals and somebody else is paying. Man, I like eggs and rice. I like bison and venison and potatoes. I like my cutting meals. Not a cop-out. I think the only thing I could throw into the mix here would be maybe sushi. Leaner types of sushi, stuff without a lot of avocado or any of that funky mayo stuff. I don't like that mayo stuff. Steve, good morning, Massive. Do you recommend reducing total number of sets during a mini cut? Yeah, you can. I don't personally because I'm old AF and I've been lifting forever and I don't feel like I need to. But you can reduce a set per exercise. There's no downside. You're not going to lose muscle. You're not going to lose strength. If anything, you're going to, maintain. You're going to have a little bit better energy. Big Ernie Peterson. On bulldozer rest periods, I ran in the PDF that they expand from 30 seconds. That's escalating bulldozer. Okay. There are 2 different types of rest pause in the massive iron world. You have basic bulldozer, which is the same rest between sets. It could be 20, it could be 15, it could be 30. It can vary based on the exercise, okay? That's basic rest pause, bulldozer rest pause. Now, what you are referencing is escalating bulldozer. The deeper in a set you get, the longer you rest. This is usually a 7-set rest pause period or protocol where you might do 30, 30, 60, 60, 90, 120 or something like that. So the deeper you get into the mini sets, the longer you rest. This allows you for a little bit better recovery at the end because we're doing a little bit, we're doing a few more sets. Does that make sense? If you guys have any confusion on the Rest Pause stuff, you can search my channel or hit me up directly on Instagram at Ben the Barman. I'd be happy to refer you to a video or more information on this. And thank you, sir. Happy Friday to you. Ready to rock and roll. Week 2 of the mini cut and down 6 pounds. That's what I like to hear. Just keep it rolling. Barbell Beauty. I decided to do 3x8 on squats for a while. Would you suggest alternating with another rep scheme? No. I think if you're going to reduce to straight sets, just run with straight sets and don't complicate it. And when you feel like, okay, I've had enough, and you want to do something a little bit more advanced or foo-foo or fancy, then you could maybe alternate. What is the best piece of advice you can give to all the women weightlifters out there right now? Set a goal to get stronger than the average man in the gym. Repeat. Set a goal to get stronger than the average man in the gym. Are you hearing me? So, if you're a woman, you're thinking, what? You're probably thinking one of two things, what or yes. I will tell you, the yes is a reality. And Barbell Beauty is a good example. We're trying to get her seated overhead press to 135. Okay? She's a woman, and I'm not saying that in any demeaning sort of way. What we're saying is her body weight is, I don't know what. We're not going to speak of body weight, but lower than the males. Women, Barbell Beauty dumbbell rows 100s. Okay. She squats 200 plus. We are going to get her squats to 250. We are going to get her deadlift to 300. We're going to get her overhead press to 135. And her dumbbell rows are pretty damn strong. So you are going to be as strong or stronger than the average guy in the commercial gym. That's where we want to be. Arguably, you'll be stronger. That's a piece of advice I want to give women. You're not going to look like Arnold. You're not going to be bulky. What you're going to look is damn good because you're fit, fantastic, packing on muscle. You have to be as focused on building strength as the men. You look at women that look good, they are strong. You can get a lot stronger than you think, and you need to get a lot stronger than you want to. It's the same game for men, right? It is. So, how many women are going to do that? Not many. How many men do it? Not many. Where do most men and women fall? Falter. Stop. It's not that they can't do it. Most people could. Are you hearing me? It's not that they can't. Most people can. Men and women. Where do they stop? Fear of the weight, inconsistency, inconsistent nutrition, whatever the excuse is. I'm not going to get into the myriad of excuses. But if you do not reach the body you want to reach, you are your own worst enemy. Now, there are cases out there where we don't have the best genetics and we get injured or so on and so forth. But you can still develop an amazing physique. Even if you can't be as big as me, or as big as Jeffrey Verity Schofield, or as big as Alpha Destiny, if you get 75% of the way there, and then you get leaner, you're going to look amazing. Right? I'm mentally ill. Let me tell you a secret. I do things in the gym that sometimes I question my own sanity. Why am I doing this? Why? I like the power. I grew up in a world of abuse. I had a very violent alcoholic father. Not a lot of control. I found that lifting gave me control. I could become something. If I put my mind to it, I could deadlift 700 pounds. I could run for 12 hours. I could be a real life superhero. That's why I love this stuff. You're going to get injured fighting crime, right? You're going to get injured. But damn, if you fall in love with the possibilities and you chase them safely, the world is yours. That physique is yours. Big Drew. Hey, big hairy ugly dude. When you're losing weight to stress and you're getting negatives on everything, is it a cue to step away from the weight? If you're losing weight, I'm not being facetious, but you need to open that pie hole and start eating something. What is the thing that's broken here? I understand stress is there, but you're being a rational human being. Rational, I mean you're analyzing and you found the problem. The problem is you're not eating enough, you're losing weight. You're not losing weight due to stress. You hearing me? You're losing weight because you're not eating enough. Let's take that a step forward. I understand you're stressed, I get it. But you're rational, you're reasonable. You're not eating enough. In a world where you can go outside blindfolded, head in any direction, and probably bump into a fast food restaurant. Now that you know the problem, you need to enact solutions. You take a whey shake, add in an ounce or two of heavy cream. You going out for a burger? Add fries. I don't always advocate that stuff, but if you are losing weight, you need to track. Nothing's preventing you from tracking. I want to put something in your guys. I want to give you guys something to think about. Right here, in this big old fat organ called your brain. How much time during a day do you live in your own brain with your own thoughts? Stray thoughts, random thoughts, whatever. Sitting at your desk, thinking about things. You might be productive. You might be working. You might be working in a factory. You might be working as an accountant, whatever you're doing. In the shower thinking, watching TV thinking during a commercial. Thinking. We're always thinking. I don't have time. You spend so much time, not necessarily Drew, you spend so much time thinking a day. You have time to plan. You have time to scheme. That brain's thinking. In the shower. Man, I love that new Judas Priest album. Noise, right? Focus it. I got a plan. How can I bring up my calories? In the shower, lifting up underneath the hood. I'm going to put an ounce of heavy cream. I'm going to eat some fries with my burger. I'm going to eat a little bit of ice cream at the end of the night. Nothing is stopping you but you. So the solution to your problem, stress isn't causing you to lose weight. Lack of calorie intake is causing you to lose weight. You are equipped now with the problem. Now let's find a solution. If in your brain it's like, I'm stressed, I don't feel like eating, I'm going to say to you politely, I do not give a fuck. You have a specific goal. Do you want it? I don't feel like eating. I don't give a fuck. I'm not saying this to you. You need to say this to you. You have a specific goal. I do not feel like eating. I'm stressed. You need to say that to you. Play the violin. I do not give a fuck. I want this goal. And listen, of all the things in life that are difficult, opening your pie hole and putting in an extra little Debbie cake is not. Are you hearing me? Drew, I'm saying this because I care. Get it. Get after it. Let's go. One of the best ways to fight stress is to do something positive. You're stressed. You're depressed. You're down. You're having a bad day. I get it. We all have those days. One of the best things you can do is fight back. How many times have you felt like shit during a day? Boss is a dick. Your tire goes flat. Your relationship's in the shitter. Somebody at work's watching everything you do, being an asshole. Your mom thinks you're ugly. You are ugly. You're having those days, right? But when you have those days and you fight back and you do the right thing, how do you feel at the end? Like a world of just completely better. You don't want to work out, but you work out. How do you feel at the end? Amazing. I'm so damn glad I worked out. I feel better 99% of the time. Right? You feel better. When you fight back, there's two sides in this ugly little meat thing in your head, this meat boat, this carrier of nonsense and jello, gelatinous glop that sometimes thinks about things other than food and sex. You got this thing in your head. There's two voices. Be a lazy bitch. Be a lazy bitch. Make excuses. Fight back. Fight back. Fighting back is the hard part. But if we do it, we learn over time that victory is ours, my friend. When I do not want to run, when I go out to the trail sometimes and it's piss pouring rain, and it's been piss pouring rain for days, and the mud's this high, and it's freezing, and I'd rather be doing 1,000 other things in my brain. I'm like, wow. I just want to quit. I don't want to do this. Not always. Sometimes I just go out and do the run that I've planned. But sometimes I get so pissed at myself for being weak. There's two sides here, the weak side and the side that fights back. Sometimes I get so pissed off at the weak side of myself that I say, I'm going to fuck you up. You are not going to win. Excuse my language. There are some times where I am so angry at myself for being weak. I'm so angry at the weak side. I'm like, I'm going to fuck you up. What do? In those moments? I will run out until I physically am done. Let's say I had planned an hour run that day. I could do a loop. I could do a little loopy loop, get it done. But let's say there's a day on a Saturday when I have time and I'm being a little bitch. I don't want to run. Poor me. My little toe hurts. Right? My tum-tum hurts. Something's wrong. It's raining. It's muddy. It's cold. I'm stressed. Instead of just doing my hour loop, I will run out as far as I can until I want to stop. And then I find myself 2 to 3 hours out. And what do I have to do? I have to come back or else I'm dying in the woods. All of a sudden, I put myself on an island where I am forced to fight because there's no other way out. So you don't have to go to that extreme. But you can put yourself on an island where you have to fight to get off. I don't want to eat. Don't think. Grab that little Debbie and put it in your pie hole. I don't want to lift. I don't want to lift. I don't want to lift. You know what I do on days when I don't want to lift? I just try to shut that voice off. And I just go into the gym.
I can't connect to your Wi-Fi network. You can find setup instructions in the help section of your Alexa app.
Sorry. You don't want to lift? I go in the gym. I put on my shoes. I might sit there for 3 or 4 minutes. What am I doing? Then I'll move over to the barbell. I'll do a set of 10. What am I doing? Don't feel it. All of a sudden, I'm doing a warm-up set with 135. All of a sudden, I'm doing a warm-up set with 185. All of a sudden, I'm halfway through my workout and crushing it. And the negative side that felt like crap, that had the tum-tum ache, that didn't want to do it, that didn't get enough sleep last night, that's under stress, all of a sudden he's feeling what? Victorious. Victorious. Better. Energized. Positive. Look, I'm not going to say life doesn't kick you in the balls. It does. That's life. Life will kick us in the balls 7 different ways when we're not expecting it. But you only have one life. Hear me out. You only have one life. Here's the rules of the game. You have one life and you have shit you want to do because you like doing your shit. I don't care what it is. You like playing video games. You like playing soccer. You like running. You like cooking. Whatever it is you like doing. Life is going to come in and kick you in the fucking balls. Do we fall on the couch and throw a tantrum, or do we fight back? Fight back. That's all you can do. This is the only life you got, guys. Fight back. Regroup. Tighten that shot group. Fight fire with fire. You become a stronger person. And this is the way to victory. And I'm sorry to ramble on for a long time. Paul, how's it going? All right, we've been about an hour into the game. I'm going to get a drink here. And sorry for the ramble. I got a little bit fired up. I'm going to answer you guys. I'm going to keep rolling. So you guys got questions, post them on up. I want to help. And I hope some of this has been of some help. Woo. We got the purple monster. And that was the first purple monster. I might have another purple monster. You guys, please head over to Instagram at Ben the Barman and follow me. I'd love to connect with you. And please head over to teammassiveiron.com. Join right now. Just come join. We got a good community. No trolls, no politics, no religion. Just a bunch of people. A big platoon. A tribe, a group. We got each other's back. And we are moving forward. Problem solving, providing support. Amplified training. How's it going, Mark? Mark was on my channel. He did the strongman program, and you guys can check it out. Just search strongman. I want to give you guys a quick lesson because Mark is someone I like as a person. Just a good guy. He's like the brother I never wanted. Okay. Now, I had him on my channel doing the strongman training. This is a lesson, and I want you guys to hear this. Someone says in the comments, Mark don't look strong. Okay. Mark just hit a 3 times bodyweight deadlift. He deadlifted over 600 pounds. Natural, under a body weight of 200. I'll tell you what, the internet's a funny place, right? Because Mark's not 7'2", looking like his gut is full of HGH. You know, you have the certain percentage of people that bust his balls. Anyway, we all know how it goes. Paul's in the body shop as we speak, getting a posterior upgrade. That's code speak for doing those hip thrusts, I think. Going to be upper, back, and arms. Get after it. Carlton, good morning from the road. Carlton is one of my truck driving clients. Fat chick in a barn. Always glad to see her. I'm always rooting for you. I am, and now she has squat stands. So it is time to get after it. Alano, does it matter when you go to bed if you get 8+ hours of sleep? I don't know. I mean, that's good, better, best, right? One of the things we found out about sleep, and this is something we probably need more research on, that consistent sleep or consistent times of sleep are nearly as good as perfect sleep. So you want to be as consistent as you can, but if you can't, the next default would be to get a lot of sleep. Do what you can, win the battles you can. You're doing fine. Anthony, do you think during a cut it's a good strategy to make meals less palatable? I think the best strategy is to bring in food volume. I like what I eat, but no, look, I'm not going to tell you can't do that. If you want to make a steaming bowl of doo-doo and put it in front of you, and I'm not being literal. I mean, if you want to have no flavoring, you can do that if that helps. But look, you take instant rice, instant potatoes, 400 calories. You chop up 2 to 3 of those big, juicy tomatoes. You throw in some cocktail onions or chop up a dice of dice of onion in, dice of green pepper in, dice some roasted red pepper, throw some jalapenos in there, a little bit of cilantro, maybe a little bit of salsa, maybe a pow of jalapenos. All of a sudden, you got this monster volcano of food that tastes good, man. You got jalapenos. You might have some onion. You might have some salsa. You got all the stuff. Little Frank's Red Hot. Yeah. Then you put your protein on top of there, and all of a sudden you have like 1,000, 1,100 calories for dinner. You can barely even eat all that. You can't even eat all that. I can give you food volume you can't eat, or you're going to struggle to eat. You think I'm kidding? Let's go to war, right? Let's go to war. But if you want to make your food taste like nasty McNastiness, that's your call. I want you to think about food volume. I want you to think about how much, I'm not saying just eat like 5 pounds of broccoli. That's boring and dull. Let's say you take 370, like a pack of instant rice. 370, 380 calories, whatever it is. And you take in 3 to 4 regular eggs, like 300 calories. You're up to 670. Now you take one of those big things of egg whites, you're up to like 900. All of a sudden, you already got a lot of food volume. Then you add some diced tomatoes, maybe a little salsa just for the flavoring, some jalapenos, I like the little cocktail onions, the pickled cocktail onions. Those taste great. You can add in pepperoncinis, jalapenos. If you've never tried the roasted red pepper in the jars as well, that tastes great as well. You can start adding all this food volume. And before you know it, you can't finish it. And it tastes great. So food volume, food volume, food volume. That's your cornerstone. I think I could put together a diet of 2,200 calories that would be hard for the average individual to finish. Have you guys ever done anything like that? Tips for mentally dealing with losing a definition on a bulk. No. If you're bulking properly, you're only going to gain 2 to 2.5 pounds a month. I'm not going to. This is the battle that we were just talking about with the stress, the good versus evil. You want to build muscle, you want to stay lean. A bulk shouldn't be fat. I mean, if someone is losing definition on a bulk, let's grind this down to reality here. If you notice you're losing definition on a bulk, you probably should be at the end of your bulk. A bulk is about 10 pounds over 4, maybe 5 months if it's slow. That's only 5-6 pounds of fat, maybe a little bit of water weight. If you're noticing a definition change, you're pretty lean to begin with. 16% or under. I'm not being critical, Sam, but you're still already lean. You should not be losing a lot of definition 4 weeks into a bulk unless you're over bulking, or you were so lean to begin with that adding a couple pounds of water and a couple pounds of fat, you need to get over it's what you need to do. I mean, there's no magic. Either you want to beat 11% year round or you want to build muscle. Steven, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Zombie Prodigy. I'm 200 pounds. Should I get as strong as I can get at this body weight and then go on a cut? Holding steady at a body weight doesn't really do anybody any good. But if you've been there before muscle-wise and you're gaining back some muscle via muscle memory, yes, you could do that. But if you get to the point where you're no longer gaining muscle back from muscle memory, then it's probably time to go on a cut and then start building again. Does that make sense? Anthony, is it normal to be a tad wobbly on a Pendlay or bent over row? Like unbalanced, not normal, but I mean, is there any real normal in lifting? You're going to have weaknesses when you start out, and depending on where your weaknesses are, you could have some neurological issues where you're getting up to speed neurologically, or some of the minor muscle groups or tendons or connective tissue aren't perfectly up to speed yet. So, yeah, but I don't worry about what is normal. I worry about what I can control. And we went over the information on how to make a Pendlay row as good as possible earlier in this video. So focus on what you can control. It's okay. Don't worry about that. Focus on muscle growth. Focus on form. Focus on feel. You'll be good. I'm pretty chuffed. I'm laughing at the word chuffed because we talked about it yesterday on Team Massive. And in America, it can mean puking. I'm chuffing. And over the pond, I believe it's celebratory revelment or something, whatever it is. I'm pretty excited or something. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty chuffed with getting back into lifting, but have you ever felt like you needed to prove yourself in the gym? I think look, if you say, there's part of me that wants to prove myself, somebody will say, come on, man, just have your own goals or whatever. Look, I'm not going to lie. It feels good to become stronger than other people. It's not that we want to beat people. I think we want them to be stronger as well, unless you don't like somebody, right? It's not that you're wishing harm on somebody, but it's human nature to want to be a part of something, be a part of a community, to be a part of a crowd, to be strong enough. That's okay, right? That's okay. Just take care of yourself in the process. David. Leg day is today. How can I build up work capacity? Time. You just got to put in your time. Work capacity is going into the gym and doing your program, and you feel like, darn, I'm tired right about here, but I got to keep going. Work capacity when you're running or playing basketball or wrestling or lifting is trying to do a little bit more than last time. And that adds up over time. It's the small steps. It's hard to build up your conditioning level to a substantial degree in one workout, from one workout to the next. But if you go in and you push a little bit harder for that extra +1, even if you don't get it on half the days, you're building your work capacity. So, David, I sense that you mean you have limited exercises you can do. Do the exercises you can do that were programmed for you, and do them to the best of your ability. And if you feel like you don't have the work capacity, just try to do one small step more than last time. Could you use 5, 10, 10, 20 rep format? Yeah, you could. Or you could use 4, 8, 8, 12, 5, 10, 10, 15. You absolutely could. Logan. I've been having pec strains doing dips. I don't like to mess with the pecs. I'd like to look at form. So if you have form of video, please send it to me. I'd like to take a look. But I will say, if you're having strains, number one, are you overweighting things? Are you going too heavy? Are you too reckless, or are they controlled? I'd really like to see your form. You want to be controlled. You want to lean slightly forward with the torso and control yourself down. You don't want to be really reckless and out of control. I don't know what your dip looks like. I would say be super cautious. Go lighter than normal and get a video so we can check form. Barbell row plus RDL plus leg press plus power shrugs. Yeah, that'll only help. Leg work, back work, yoke work. If you want to get a deadlift strong, get your yoke strong, get your legs strong, get your back strong. I want to work the muscles such as calves, side delts, neck weekly, but don't want to bloat my program. Side delts are part of your program, man. Those are your shoulder work. Your shoulder work, the meat and potato of your shoulder work, should be side delts. There's no need to work neck. It's going to grow just from the myriad of work you're doing. Abs, kind of the same thing. So you're telling me you want to add all this stuff, but you don't want your program to run longer. I would probably add in a junk day, like a fifth day on Saturday where you can do calves, abs, neck, Might only take you 20 minutes, right? But I would consider that. Raphael. What can I do to improve my arms for the summer? Man, you got like 2 months left. Nothing. I'm not being facetious, man, but nothing. You can't do a heck of a lot of anything in 2 months. The only thing you can do is lean out. So maybe work on your definition a little bit. But I'm just being honest, man, being real. You can't do anything in 2 months. Unless you want to try Athlete X's magic 10-minute arm building workout. Something. 3,000 calories and 200 grams of protein is fixed. How would you like to see my carbs? I don't worry about that. Fat, though, can't be lower than 20%. You need it for your organs, your skin, your brain. So, anybody that's watching, when you're in a bulk, whatever, you get your calorie target set, you get your protein target set, and then you're like, what do I do with carbs and fats? Carbs and fats generally shake themselves up. They're not generally anything we need to over worry about as long as you're feeling good. But your fats cannot go below 20%. That's a danger zone. I do not suggest that. Above that, let carbs and fats just do what they want to do. In your 40s and later, when you wake up at 3 a.m. and can't sleep, is it better to fight tooth and nail to get a nap? I don't know, man. I've had those days, and sometimes I get up and I work productively till noon, and then I go take a little bit of a nap. I can't tell you what to do, but if you can't sleep, I have those days every couple of months. I usually get up and work. Bicep tears. Same reason you don't want to do triceps the day before overhead presses, because they're involved in the lift. You don't want to damage or hamper your big movements because of fatigue in smaller muscle groups. Do you plan to make a complete cut when you can achieve? Do you plan to make a complete cut, for example, when you can achieve 10 to 12? Are you talking about me? I'm just trying to get down to 220 right now. Thoughts on oats? Yeah, they're a good call. And fruit is, yeah, I have no problem with it. You're getting a little complex carbs before bed. Absolutely no problem. I think it's a good thing. If you're adding some protein in, that's a good thing as well. I probably wouldn't have a meal without protein unless it's the one oddball of the day. How much protein a day? You don't really want to go below 150 red line on a bulk. That's like your red line for a male. A woman no lower than 110. Men, you probably want to bump it up to 170, 180 as a general guideline. Women, probably 120. You can eat more than that if you like eating more protein per day. We're not trying to create rules. We're just trying to create something sustainable and reasonable. Do you have any superstitions? Be honest. I don't like to. I wash my hands after I shake hands with anybody. That's not a superstition. That's just paranoia. No, I don't think I do. Did 2x20 weighted sissy squats. Nice. I like the sissy squat. I have a sissy squat station here, and I really find a lot of value in it. Between Team Massive coaching clients doing these lives, how do you find time to lift? It's tight, man, bell to bell. I have a very strict schedule, and I have there's not much free time in the mix. I get up every day. I do Team Massive, then I do client work, and I try to ram so I can lift by 3, 4, 5. A lot of times I'll do a set, come over and do 2 clients, do a set, come over, do a client, do a set, come over, do a client. I kind of have that luxury since my workstation's in my gym. Big Alan Wolf. I do 3 different handholds on my Viking, 4 sets of Lou raises, and now with your advice, I added 3 sets of dumbbell raises. You're getting at some good work. My question, and I don't know your situation, is do you have, if you're capable of doing a dumbbell or barbell overhead press, you should be doing it. All these different variations of handhelds, that's good and well, but you should have a dumbbell and or a barbell press overhead in the mix, if possible. As someone who's been in fitness for over 3 decades, do you ever get tired of it? No. How did you find a long-term career? I didn't try to make a career. I just did what I loved. I love moving. I've always loved moving. When I was a teen, I would go play tennis against the brick wall. I'd throw a ball against the wall. I'd go play putt-putt golf. I'd go shoot basketball. I'd go run. It's just what I like to do. I like lifting. I never started out trying to have a career. I got laid off from my job as a machinist way back in the mid-2000s, and I started a website about lifting. It took off. I started writing. Muscle and Strength Notice asked me to write. Started doing YouTube just about lifting stuff. It's not a burden to me. I like what I do. It's my hobby. It's my interest. It's my passion. It's what I'll do until the last day. How do you deal with burnout? I don't get burnout. I don't. I'm not trying to do some big chest beating thing. You know, we're like, I am a Superman and I don't burn out. I mean, if I get sick of doing a program, I try a different rep scheme or a different approach. Some exercises I get sick of, I wouldn't call that burnout. I just try something different. The key is in life and fitness is to do something you love. Hey, man, I hate doing gym cardio. Well, don't do gym cardio. Get your butt outside. Hey, man, I hate doing treadmill. Go swimming. Go bowling. Bowling's not cardio. Activity, activity, activity. Movement is life. Do something you enjoy, whatever it is. Greatest thing I ever heard, Big Hairy Ugly, do better than your average plebeian man. Thank you. Great job. 2 Barbell Beauty, inspiration. Fit, fantastic, and packing on muscle. Your next t-shirt just wrote itself. Yes, sir. I'll keep that in mind. The upset stomach from hell. I get it, man. Other than fitness-based activities like running and hiking, what are your some favorite me time activities? I love writing. I love writing, and I want to write more fiction. I have some ideas for space fiction that I want to do. And I love my dogs. I love spending time with my dogs. I love watching baseball games. I love watching basketball games. I love watching soccer. I don't have a time to do a lot of this stuff. I support Ice Cube's Big 3 League in basketball. In fact, the tickets for Cincinnati came out today, and you know who treated himself to the best ticket in the house? Me. That's how I spoil myself. I'm getting old, man. I save my money for the things that matter. Ice Cube's Big 3 League will probably never be in Cincinnati again, or might not be for a long, long time. But I support the Cube, and I like what he's doing. It's a lot of fun. The tickets went on sale today in Cincinnati, and I spoiled myself, went in there and got the best seat in the house. It's going to be me snuggling with Ice Cube. Not really, but you know what I'm saying. Great answer to Drew. Thank you, sir. My mom thinks I'm pretty. She better, because you are. We think you're pretty. Eric, sushi, 100%. Man, I love sushi. Beyond Fish vegan sushi is so good. Beyond Fish. Beyond Fish. How about we just stay with fish? Vegans can be vegans. We'll stay with fish. On back day, as long as you're hitting the big horizontal pulls, rows, it's just one vertical is fine. People get kind of upset about that, but the thing is, like, horizontal rows and vertical pulls or rows are not the same. Here's why. If you look at all the horizontal rows, seated cable rows, single arm dumbbell rows, Pendlay rows, Yates rows, T-bar rows, whatever, there's a ton of them with big progression opportunity. And we all could do a ton of them. Vertical pulls or rows, lat pull downs tend to cap out really, really quickly. I mean, not quicker than horizontal rows. And pull-ups, many of us aren't very efficient at pull-ups. So even though those are good movements, we're much better naturally as lifters at horizontal rows. So we don't have to over-focus on lifts that aren't going to be super productive. You want to bring up your pull-ups, and I'm not telling you not to bring up your pull-ups. But if you can only do a set of 3, 4, 5, 6 pull-ups, you can't overwork your vertical pulls because you don't have the capacity. Does that make sense? If you have the capacity, get after it. Same thing with lat pull downs. You do those for a couple of years and you train hard, you're going to be pretty much capped out. So if you get capped out on pull-ups and lat pull downs, definitely rely on rows. Verticals bore me to death, but I do some of them. But I focus on rows, and despite, I'm not going to call it nonsense, but despite the conditioning we're put through in hypertrophy and muscle building, we separate, like, one builds width and one builds thickness. They are compound movements. These can build width, my friends. Deadlifts and heavy rows can build a lot of lat width. I hate to tell you, rows build lats too. They do. I'm not telling you not to do vertical pulls, but I'm telling you, you can build big lats with rows. Is there a lift you don't enjoy, but you do anyway because it's good for you? Squats. I don't. I'd like to say I enjoy squats. Squats are like going to the dentist, but you have to do them every week. Nolan Rick, dumbbell rows and press on adjustable handles. Does loading bigger plates get in the way of the range of motion, or is it non-issue? Not really. On a dumbbell overhead, as long as your elbow is going a couple inches below your shoulder, you're getting some good side delt activation from right here. If the plates are so big that or the handles are so big, you're going to conk yourself in the melon. That's a bigger issue for me. Generally not an issue. Fitness to lifestyle. Is 500 pounds double overhand deadlift extremely strong? Yeah, extremely strong. That's gym elite. Nice work. Cian, happy weekend. You are the best. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your support. Been rocking with sliced turkey, pre-cooked turkey sausage, wide range of cheeses and hummus. That sounds good, man. That sounds good to me. You know what's really underrated? You can go to Kroger or Walmart and you can find diced ham, 96% fat-free. Hear me out. Diced ham, little packages, 96% fat-free. It has about 270 calories and 40 grams of protein. It's really, really tasty too for what you get. It's a good option. I do sliced deli meat too, like roast beef, turkey, ham. You can get that for like 270, 280 calories and has a lot of protein. How do you deal with progression of stagnation in your lips? I made a video about this week. Check it out. I can't say any more than I did in the video this week. I understand the process and I understand it's going to be slow. It doesn't bother me. If two people with the same workout hit it hard for 5 years, but one consumes 50 grams of protein, this is a theoretical that doesn't exist. And I appreciate the question, but this is a non-issue. No one does this. It's a problem that doesn't exist, and we're trying to solve problems that don't exist. No one reasonably would try to overconsume carbs and underconsume protein. We want to do what's reasonable. We don't want to live in a theoretical world. Like, I don't find value in hypotheticals that are on subjects that we can control. Like, if I only did one set per week on squats, what would my muscle mass be? Why are we doing this? If I fight a tiger every week, how long am I going to live? Why would you fight a tiger every week? Right. We got to do what's normal. That's a massive iron world. We want to do what's right and what's common sense. So I don't like hypotheticals like this, but I appreciate the question. Clinton, personal question. I hope it doesn't bother you. I just lost my dad the other day, and I know you did too. How did you deal with it? I lost my dad about a year and a couple months ago. I don't know. We all handle things differently on different levels. We really, really do. So I wish there was just a simple something I could give you. But we deal with grief on multiple levels. All I can say is appreciate the people in your life that are still here to the best of your ability. There was a song I remember, and I'm not going to get into the lyrics and all the nonsense and hoo-ha, but I remember the lyrics, and it was basically saying, it was talking about how someone's best friend died and that the people around him seemed to love him more once he was gone than when he was here. Basically, what he was getting at was that a lot of people didn't really care for him or his decisions or his lifestyle choices while he was here. But when he was gone, everyone elevated and missed him. And, you know, the best advice I can give you is don't try to live the life for other people. Love them for where they're at and who they are. You don't have to, it's not our place to judge how they spend their time or how they live their life. Just try to be there with them to the degree that you want to. So when they're gone, you don't regret lost time. What's your opinion on reverse grip bench press? My personal opinion, nah. I don't like it. I don't like the value. If you're the rare person that can actually do it and it feels good for you and you want to work it in as a variation good, for the rest of you, don't elevate it into something like, I must do reverse grip bench press because X, Y, or Z lifter does it and he likes it and he's pretty strong, and therefore I should do it too. No. Very few lifters can do it well. Do I even think it's needed if they can do it well? No. To me, it's like the Zercher squat. You like doing it, do it. Do I think it adds any value inherently? So many other good lifts. I don't know. What's the value of a lift? The value you give it, I guess. But it's not anything I ever think about. Do you believe in Lord Gaines? I believe in Crom. And if you don't know what Crom is, you better Google Crom. Weighted walking lunges, alternative for beginners. Leg extensions, Bulgarian split squats. Those are the easiest similar types of lifts. Favorite way to cook a steak? Iron skillet, searing that sucker off a few minutes each side and popping it in the oven. Boom. If you had to pick 3 exercises to gain mass in the long head triceps, my staple exercise, aren't going to be yours necessarily, but the exercises I like to do for triceps, I don't differentiate between heads. I just do what exercises I like. I like assisted seated push downs. I like close grip bench. I like JM press. I like cable tricep extensions. I can't do the French press. I don't have the mobility to do the dumbbell overhead. Those are good exercises if you can do it. Sometimes I do dumbbell kickbacks. 3 questions left, guys, and we're going to pop off. So if you have any questions, get them in now. Is it bad to go to failure by accident? No. Bench press or presses in general are very forgiving. So you can take those or all sets to failure if you want. I don't find that I get beat up by pushing presses to failure. What are your thoughts on reverse hyperextension? Fine. If you like doing them, do them. I think they can be a decent exercise. I would probably do them if I had the equipment to do them down here. Last question, guys. Don't go anywhere. Opinion on front squats. Number one, they're very hyped. You see a lot of hype about front squats from a certain small percentage of individuals about how great it is for quad development. It can be decent for quad development if you like the front squat. The problem I've seen over the years is that most people I see doing front squats don't like them. They become tedious. It's hard to hold the bar in a position. Strains the mid-back. If you like them, good option. Just don't believe the hype that they are the way, the truth, and the life, or the light when it comes to building quads. Don't use them if you don't like using them. I don't know, but I want to see that fight. I'll tell you that much. I want to see if he can bop him. I really, really am curious. Don't know if you like anime. I don't know much about it. I remember Cowboy Bebop way back in the day. Yeah, I don't understand anime. That's not a criticism. Just not my world. All right, guys, before you go, please, I appreciate your time. Please come back every Friday loaded with questions. Please head over to Instagram at BendTheBar. Follow me. Come over to Team Massive Iron, teammassiveiron.com. I'd love to have you on the team. And if you're interested in coaching at all, check out the coaching tab. For reference, I was voted the Coach of the Year by the largest online coaching app in the world, Trainerize. I didn't fight for it. I didn't ask for it. I didn't expect it. I'm with my clients every single day in the trenches. I'm not a check-in once a week guy. I'm here to build a relationship with you and help you make progress. So if you've never had a coach or you want to try a different form of coaching, please check out my coaching tab at superlivingtoday.com. What movie is Lord Crom from? Crom! You know what you need to do? You need to search a lifter called Arnold Schwarzenegger. And you need to find a movie called Conan. And you need to watch it this weekend and report back. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. See you next time.
It's not almost over. It's not almost over. You're not almost there. You're not almost there. You're not almost there.